What's up, Army? It's Jackie, also known as Jackie in the Soup, and welcome to Talk Bangtan to Me, a podcast all about BTS for Army. Whether you're a seasoned Army or just discovering the magic of Bangtan, this podcast is a space to celebrate the music, the moments, and the incredible impact BTS has on our lives. I'll be diving into the world of fandom, chatting with fellow Army, and sharing all the reasons why we love these 7 normal boys from Korea. So come into my own little magic shop and talk Bangtan to me. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. We are at episode 7, and I am very excited. I'm starting my member series, and I polled on Instagram which member to start with first, and it was pretty much unanimous. Namjoon. Everybody wanted to gush about Namjoon and hear about him and celebrate him. And he's actually who I was going to choose anyway, so it worked out well. Before we get into that, though, I just want to touch on Hope on the Stage and what's been going on with that. Since the last episode, we had a bunch of shows. We had Mexico City, Chicago, Oakland, San Antonio, and LA. And oh my goodness, it is safe to say he has gotten way more comfortable since Brooklyn. He is letting loose, he is feral, he is unhinged, and driving everybody crazy. And I've really enjoyed seeing the differences between all of the crowds. Some crowds are super rowdy, some are not as much. I have to say, I was surprised. Night 1 of LA, the crowd shots I saw, some areas of the floor were super chill. It was not as crazy as some of the other cities I saw. So it's interesting. I just think the vibe is different everywhere. LA definitely redeemed themselves in night 2. The crowd was loud and rowdy and really just closed out the North American tour beautifully. I have to say, I think the best crowd, though, in North America was Mexico. Mexico was just a completely wild experience to watch. The crowd was so hyped. It was awesome. And then San Antonio, which was right after Mexico, continued that same energy. I just think he was loving that Latin energy coming from the crowds because there's a large Latin population in Texas as well. So I just think that carried over from the cowboy hat and the gyrating and the boots. He just was soaking that up. I've also really enjoyed seeing how the interactions have gotten more intimate throughout these shows. The send-offs are getting really personal. We're seeing male fans. We're seeing young kids. We're seeing beautiful Mona Lisas. There's just been a lot of variety. It's been really cool to see. So many people are coming out of this North American tour with having had an interaction with him, a sweet moment or two. And that is incredible. But I gotta say, y'all, I just really need him to wrap up this North America leg and get out of this country because I cannot stand the FOMO anymore. It is a different kind of pain when you go to the opening night in your country and then it's over and then you got to watch everybody else go through their experience and it just hurts every time. Now, I know I sound silly because there's people that couldn't go to any shows. And I am very fortunate and blessed, but I can't deny that FOMO hit really hard. And I think I'm going to feel better when he gets on a plane and I know that he is in Asia where they have been patiently waiting for him and I don't have to live with that FOMO. But it's been a great tour and I'm loving seeing him collecting everybody because I have loved his music for so long. And I felt like I was screaming from the rooftops that his music is just underrated. And people are realizing that. His discography is just so flawless. I can't even talk about it anymore because I'll go on and on. But I'm excited for Asia, see what kind of crowds he has and what kind of interactions he has. I'm going to shift my focus to JK's exhibition coming to New York City, which I am so grateful for. And then we can all start preparing for Festa. Whether you're going to be in Korea or not, Festa is going to be special and we can enjoy it together. June's going to be a big month. So let's get into it. Some call him Namjoon, some call him RM, some call him Big Daddy. I call him extra large. He is our fearless leader of BTS, and we love him so much. And I have personally had a bit of a complicated journey with RM, and I'm going to get into that. But first, let's just do a little bit of a background on him. because I know I have a lot of listeners that are newer ARMY and are still getting to know the members. Namjoon is the founding member of BTS. He was the first member to be offered a spot, first member to join at 16 years old. But he had been artistically inclined and writing music for years leading up to that. When he was young, and I mean young, he was writing poetry and submitting poetry online and getting some light recognition there. And he decided to turn his poetry into lyrics at age 11. 11 years old. Let that sink in. I have a son who's about to turn 11. And I think about that, just imagining little Kim Namjoon at 11 years old writing hip hop lyrics. It's amazing. He quickly started rapping in underground hip hop circles in middle school, and he was using the name Runch Rhonda. Runch Rhonda. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, middle school. He was in these underground hip hop circles. He had auditioned for another company and did not make the cut, but he was then put in touch with Bang PD and auditioned for Big Hit. He was offered a spot in the group right away. He accepted it without even telling his parents at 16. So he made this choice to join Big Hit. This was in 2010. So he went into being a trainee for 3 years before they debuted in 2013. He was chosen to be the leader, obviously because he's a founding member, also because he's the only English speaking member. And you got to think about it. That's hard to be told you're going to be the leader of this upcoming group at 16 years old. He's still a kid himself, and he was about to take on this massive undertaking. I can't imagine what that was like, knowing that you are responsible for these 6 other guys. And though he had some members that were close in age to him, he had the Maknae line that was young. They were younger than him, and he had to kind of take them under his wing and keep them all together. I could not imagine that, because we know how chaotic those young ones can get. But he had to hold it down for the group. And in BTS's years of struggle, he was responsible for keeping the spirits of the group up and encouraging them to persevere. One of the most known and cherished things about Namjoon is that he would take hate comments and hate tweets and he would translate them positively for the members so that they didn't know that they were getting all of this harsh criticism. He is their protector in a lot of ways. When I look back and I watch interviews, especially when they come overseas and he's got to be the translator, I just watch him in awe because he looks so done sometimes. A lot of times the members are just kind of spacing out, not paying attention. JK's usually fidgeting in the background because they don't know what's being said. I mean, they're just sitting there listening to these interviewers speak in English to Namjoon, and he's got to then translate and get the other guys to speak. And sometimes he's got to encourage them because not all the members are extroverted and like to speak. Some of them like to stay quiet. So he'll be encouraging them to answer. And sometimes their answers will be silly and off topic. And he's got to just kind of divert that. You can tell the look on his face where he's like, I can't. I can't do this. But I couldn't imagine it being anyone else in those early years. He just carries himself so well. He's incredibly smart and just represents the group really well. And while he's acting as the leader of BTS and writing a lot of their music and guiding them through all of this, he's also working on his own music and he's doing collabs. I mean, this man has so many collabs and features on songs. It's crazy. He was also appearing on variety shows as well. I mean, this man was running like crazy. And it just kind of felt like he was always in this push and pull between being Kim Namjoon, the leader of BTS, and being RM, the underground rapper. And I think he felt really conflicted about that. I mean, I know he did. I can imagine when you're in this underground rap scene and then everyone finds out that you're going to be an idol in a K-pop group. I can imagine what that felt like for him. I'm sure he felt like he was losing his street cred a little bit. I mean, let's be honest. And I'm sure there were people in the scene that were judgmental and thought that he sold out. That's just the way it is. Not even in just hip hop, but many other genres of music. I think about that in the punk rock scene. If a group were to join a label and get big, they're called sellouts. Same kind of thing. So I think June was conflicted there. And you see that in 2015 when he put out his first mixtape called RM. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of rage, there's a lot of talking about that criticism that he faced. And he looks back on that first mixtape and he thinks it was immature. But I could see, being a young adult and being in that state where you want to make it. You want to make it as a rapper. It's your passion, but the way to do that is being in a K-pop group. But we didn't know that he was going to be in a K-pop group that isn't like other K-pop groups. I've said this before. I don't even really consider BTS a true K-pop group because there is just something different. And it comes from that rap line, writing those songs, I'm telling you. But anyway, I think that inner conflict he feels, that's a recurring theme throughout the 10 plus years BTS has been a group, I think, and it manifests in different ways. In 2018, he put out Mono. Mono is one of my favorite albums of all time. And on that album, he is talking about insecurities, loneliness, and all of those kind of troubles that he'd been experiencing. 2018 was when BTS was big. They were big at the time, but it was also a tough year for them. It was the year they wanted to disband. It was tough on all of the members in their own ways. So Mono is that super vulnerable album, and it's incredible. If you haven't listened to Mono, I highly, highly suggest that. But I don't know. I feel like Namjoon doesn't really talk about Mono that much. He calls it a playlist of songs. He doesn't really refer to it as an album. And maybe that's because he doesn't feel like he was matured as an artist there. And I just don't think he realizes how incredible that album is. And I hope that we get to see him perform more of those songs one day. It's one of those albums you put on and it just kind of takes you to another place. And he vocalizes in ways that we don't really hear a lot of. I don't really think it's a rap album. It's just really unique. Over these next years, I would say after the release of Mono leading up to now, I feel like that is when the Namjoon that I have known to love, I feel like he really developed in this time. When I came into the fandom in 2020, we're coming off of Dynamite's massive success, right? And COVID and pandemic, all of that. I think, during that time of isolation, he was searching for something. He was searching for something to bring him joy. And I also think he was really struggling with being in this constant wheel that they had been in all this time. So by the time 2022 hit, you can just tell this man was done. They worked so hard during the pandemic to stay connected with Army. Tons of performances, tons of interviews, just doing what they do in the machine that is K-pop. And when they sat down in 2022 at that Festa dinner, I could tell immediately looking at his face that there was something he needed to say and wanted to say. And the other members, it's amazing the way they follow his lead and feed off of him. I think they intended to sit down at that Festa dinner and have it be light and just kind of talk about where they're at and joke around and laugh. But Namjoon, from the very first minute, there was a heaviness there. And I just felt that doom come over me. Like, oh man, if the leader is looking like this, something's about to happen. And of course, it did. We all know what happened at Festa 2022. Namjoon finally let out some raw emotions about where he was at and what he was feeling. He said in his own way that he needs to find out who he is. He needs to discover himself. He needs a break. He needs to separate from the group. And I'm guilty of this 100%. I reacted immediately. And I think a lot of Army did too. Reacted like, oh my gosh, he doesn't want to be in the group anymore. And I'll tell you honestly, watching him break down and sob like that was absolutely gut wrenching. And I felt in my heart, he doesn't want to do this. And I don't want him to do this if this is what it's doing to him. And that was hard. That's hard. Someone you love is struggling and you want them to be happy. but the cost is you are losing the thing that means so much to you. In Army's case, it was BTS, and we didn't know what was to come. We didn't know that this was going to be an amazing journey of solo adventures, even though they were telling us that the whole time, but we were just too caught up in our emotions to listen. It felt really uncertain, and I was not confident that he was going to want this, that he was going to want to come back to BTS. I wasn't. And even though I trust the words that are coming out of their mouths, I had a little bit of doubt just because I have never seen that man speak and cry like that. Like he really was in a tough place. And since that Festa dinner, as he stayed engaged with us in his own ways, I admit I've had some struggles. I think Namjoon is an incredibly deep person, and he is moody and he has mood swings. And I think that part of that is his personality. Other parts is that he was just really going through a very tough time and we are his safe space. So he would get on a Weverse Live and you can tell that he was in a mood and he was not having it. You know, it in a way, it's a compliment that he's so comfortable with us that he can just let his guard down and let us see all the different sides of him. But I struggled a little bit because I didn't know how to take him always. There were some Weverse lives where I would sign off and think, oh my God, does he hate us? Like, is he really just totally fed up with Army and he's just over the crap and he just can't do it anymore? It felt that way. He moved through that though. He really did move through that because I saw that start to change and shift as he took the break. For a little while there, when he was coming on Weverse Live, he was usually busy and working and seeming a little stressed out, and it felt a little bit like a chore for him to come on and talk to us. But then as time went on, he started coming on to say, I miss you. Just wanted to see you. And of course, we welcome him with open arms. I think Indigo took a lot out of him personally. I remember a Weverse Live right before Indigo came out. I think it was the one where he's kind of talking about Indigo and how it's going to release. And he looked so thin and so tired. And I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, this man just needs a break. He needs a break. And maybe that's why Indigo didn't have these wild and crazy promotions. Indigo was promoted on a small scale. He only did that small little concert at that venue, at the Rolling Hall venue. It was his dream to perform there. That is one of my favorite concerts, by the way. I watch it over and over. But he kept things pretty intimate, and I think it was perfect for Indigo. I really do. But it didn't feel like Indigo really got out what he needed to get out. Indigo was a beautiful album of collaborations with artists that he respects and admires. But I do feel like there was unfinished business, which later proved to be true with Right Place, Wrong Person. Right Place, Wrong Person was what he needed. He needed that album to say what he needed to say and didn't get a chance to. And I did not like that album when I first heard it because I didn't know what to expect. Now, I have grown to love it, but I remember when it came out, I was with a friend and I just straight up said, "Nope, this album's not it for me." Nope, it's not it for me. I don't think so. And I look back on that and I laugh because I actually love it now. I love it. This album truly feels like it came from his heart. It was something different that we hadn't heard before. None of it was forced. It was his choice to put this album out, and he didn't hold back. Now, he talked about everything that he was feeling. And I wonder if after he discharges from the military, he will perform those songs and find more ways to bring those songs to us because, damn, they're incredible. His two releases are like polar opposites of one another. I couldn't even compare Indigo and Right Place, Wrong Person. But I'll tell you, it's pretty polarizing. You know, there are armies out there that are just diehard Indigo fans. And then there are armies that are diehard Right Place, Wrong Person. And people feel really strongly about it. When Indigo came out, that's all I listened to for probably 2 months straight. Closer is in my top 5 favorite songs of all time. But as a whole, it's Right Place, Wrong Person for me. For sure. I love the realness. I love that it's raw. And I hope the other members start to have releases like that too, where they are talking about a lot of the emotions they've gone through, the ugly ones. They talk about relationship issues and all of those things that were going on that we had no idea about. We did not get our tour from Namjoon. Now, two members of the rap line have had tours now. Namjoon certainly has enough music to do a tour between all his releases. And I wonder what he's going to do. I mean, maybe he didn't feel like he wanted to promote and do all of this stuff because he was so burnt out, but he is chomping at the bit to get out of the military. I mean, we all know that. It is heartbreaking the way he's like, get me out of here. And maybe this will give him a new love for the music side of things. I don't know that he would tour right away with the comeback, but someday I would love to see a Namjoon tour. That would be so good. He would have no problem putting a tour together. I don't know if y'all knew this, but as of right now, he is credited as a songwriter for 230 songs. 230 songs he has helped write or wrote himself. That is so impressive to me. And I bet he's got so much more that he has written, so many ideas. I'm sure he has a book of lyrics that he writes in while he's enlisted. And he's going to get out and they're going to get right to work with it. Whatever it is, I'm here for it. And kind of my hope for him is that he can step down from being the leader. I feel like in this next chapter of BTS, they are all grown men. The ones that have discharged so far, we are seeing what the military has done for them. And there's not going to be a need for this leader. Maybe a translator when they come overseas. I can see Namjoon having to kind of be that spokesperson. But a lot of the other members can hold their own. And I could see Hobie really stepping up and acting as a leader as well with the support of Yoongi. I could definitely see that happening. And I think Namjoon would be so much happier if he didn't have that additional burden on top of him to lead the group in this next chapter. So maybe with those pressures kind of alleviated, he can continue to explore his solo career and do more with it. Oh, but yes, Kim Namjoon. He is a complex genius, 148 IQ man. And let me tell you, his stans love him. I did a whole series of reels on characteristics of people that stan certain members. And what I said about the Namjoon stans is how loyal they are. And that holds true to this day. Every person I meet that has Namjoon as a bias is so diehard loyal to the point of like, there are no bias wreckers. Or, maybe they'll just get a little bit wrecked for the members here and there, but there's no question that it's Namjoon now and forever. And they will defend him to the end. And they get him and they understand him. And I'm glad that Namjoon has people like that. Because even though I will also defend him to the end and I love him, I can't say that I get him all the time. Okay. When Namjoon talks and starts to get real intellectual about things, oh, he loses me. He loses me. It is way over my head. I just do not get it. And I know that whatever he's saying is the most poetic and emotionally intelligent stuff, but I just don't get it. And when he has his mood swings, I don't get it. When he flip flops from being happy and then all of a sudden he's angry, I get angry and like his people just get him because a lot of them are the same way too. But yeah, they're loyal. They're super loyal and they're super unhinged. Not as unhinged as the Yoongi stands, but they are unhinged nonetheless. And I mean, I get it. Namjoon's delicious. He is a big, strong, smart man. What is not to love? And some of the songs he's written just completely take me to another place. And the fact that he is the writer of those songs just makes him sexier to me. I mean, Dimple is one of the most iconic BTS songs and one of my favorite. He wrote it and he's not even in the song. Talk about a boss move there. He writes a song about himself and has the vocal line sing it and perform it. That's like one of the biggest power moves ever. I can't wait to see what other songs he writes. I know he's got songs written for the group already. I know he's dying to get out of the military and get back into it. I'm just so eager to see what Namjoon is going to be like when he gets out. How is the military going to have affected him? Is it going to give him a newfound appreciation and love for what he does? I hope so. That is my hope. I think some of us had this fear that they were going to go into the military and they were going to realize that they want to settle down and they were going to have enjoyed the break from it all, not being in the spotlight and all of that. There's that fear that's there. And I think I had that fear for Namjoon and Taehyung the most. Those were the two where I'm like, they're going to like this break a little too much. And Tae is thriving in the military. So I still kind of have that fear with him, but Namjoon, you can tell he just is chomping at the bit. And I bet you he's going to want to come out and get right back into music. And he's going to love us all up because he misses us so much. But yeah, I'm looking forward to also my relationship with him continuing to blossom and grow as well. Like I said, I had a complicated history with him. I don't feel like I always get him. He makes me mad sometimes. And I don't hold anything against him. I just know that if I were to know him in person, we would be butting heads all the time. And I feel like that's okay to say. Now, people will call me an anti for saying that, but you can't assume that all of these 7 very unique personalities are going to get along with you perfectly. And Namjoon is that guy where I feel like I would always be misunderstanding him, misunderstanding his tone, misunderstanding what he's saying, and it would lead to not getting along. I'm starting to get him more and more as the years go on. So I'm looking forward to continuing on that path in June when he gets out. Nonetheless, I hold him very, very dear to me, and nobody can be a better leader than him. So I'll defend him to the end, even if he pisses me off sometimes. Okay, so song choice of the episode. I really wanted to choose the song in the episode because it is one of my favorite songs. I mentioned it earlier in the episode, and that is Closer. Closer is one of those once in a lifetime songs for me. The second I heard it on Indigo, it was my favorite. I think it's the standout song of the album. I assumed that everybody felt the same way, but come to find out, a lot of people don't know it. Whenever I would share it on my Instagram, I get messages of what's the name of this song, or I'd be on an Instagram live and it's playing in the background, someone saying, what is the name of that song? Oh, and I just want to scream from the rooftops. It's the best song ever. It's magic. It's haunting. It's everything. It's seemingly about a relationship, a partner, and wanting to be closer to them. You can interpret it as Army. I think any song you can interpret as being about Army, but I think there's definitely a relationship Namjoon was in, and I think that's a theme in a lot of his newer music. He's bringing it up, and it seems very real for him. But that song, from his voice to the production of it to Paul Blanco is a perfect addition to that song. I'm usually not big on collabs. Most collabs, I say, oh, they could have done without it. It wasn't necessary. I felt that with, Seven. I felt that with other songs, but Closer is a beautiful and perfect collab. And I couldn't imagine the song without Paul Blanco. But that is one of those songs that I can put on repeat for hours and I forget it's on repeat because I can just listen to it over and over. It gives me goosebumps from the moment I hear it. I never get tired of it. It is so special. And that is why I'm so fond of Indigo. Even though I like Right Place, Wrong Person better, I cannot let Indigo go because Closer is on it. And I am just so grateful that that song exists. Like, I know that sounds so over the top, but there's not many songs that make me feel that way, that have my hair stand on end whenever it plays. And I could just grab him and kiss him for writing that song, honestly. But yeah, that is the song that if I was introducing someone to BTS, that's absolutely one of the songs that I would show someone because it hooks you right away. He has only performed it one time live, and that was at his Rolling Hall concert, and it was a perfect performance. He looked so good, and Paul Blanco was there, and he sounded great. But I definitely would love to hear that performed again live. I hope we get that someday. The second runner up for my song choice of the episode is the song called Good. and that's on mono. That is another one of my favorite songs, and probably one that many haven't heard, especially if you haven't gone back into the older solo stuff. Because though they have these releases that were done during the Chapter 2 era, that is kind of what newer armies focus on because, it's heavily promoted. It happened when they were coming into the fandom. But the older stuff is just something you got to work yourself up to go back to. But Good is one of those older songs that also gives me goosebumps. I can listen to it over and over again. It's just one of those songs. So even though as a whole, Namjoon's solo works aren't my favorite out of everybody's, that's J-Hope, as I always say. He has specific songs that are in my top 5. So for Good, Closer, and Dimple to be in my top 5, all songs written by him, that says something. So as I wrap up this chat about Namjoon, I just hope he has peace. I want so badly for him to have peace and happiness and joy and fulfillment. That is what I want for him. And when he comes back, I want to be able to compare what he is like now compared to 2022 Festa dinner. And I want to see a totally different person. I want to see someone who does feel like he found himself. He got in touch with who he was. He took the break he needed. He's rejuvenated, refreshed. I want that for him. And if that's not the case, then I want him to step down from being a leader so that he does not carry that burden anymore and he can continue on his journey while also being in the group. I just want him to have happiness because he's done so much for the group and they couldn't have done it without him. And I hope he continues on his path of becoming one of my top bias wreckers because I had some sort of a shift within me where he came for me and attacked me, and he's continuing to do that. And I can't wait to see what the military will do to his personality and make him even sexier. I know it will. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. It's that time of the episode where I bring on my special guest, and I have my dear friend Patience coming on today. She is a Namjoon stan to the core, and I actually helped her discover that. We'll talk about that in a moment. So please welcome Patience to the podcast, and let's hear her song choice of the episode. Hello, Patience. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited you're here. I appreciate you stepping in to talk about our man here. Well, your man, but Mr. Kim Namjoon. Why don't you start off by telling us your Army story and how you found BTS?
So I now realize that I've heard their music over the years and just kind of didn't really pay attention to it. I think I was on YouTube, just looking through YouTube, and I saw an Apple Music interview, and I recognized the host who does the interviews because I've seen him on other stuff before. But then I saw JK, and honestly, the first thing that got my attention is he's cute. Wasn't anything else but that. I'm like, oh, he's cute. And so, and in the beginning, I wasn't even really paying attention to what they were saying. I was just looking at him.
Okay, so this is the one where he's in the black sweater.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I know exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I was so interested in what he was saying, even though it was a different language. And he was captivating. He kept my attention. And the things that he was saying he seemed like he was being so honest. So I watched the entire interview and then went down a rabbit hole of JK and found out how old he was. And I was like, there's no way he's that young, because he seemed very poised in the interview. He was very poised and put together. So I went down the rabbit hole, and I can't even remember what music video it was, but it was all of them. And so I finally put two and two together. I said, okay, so he's from BTS.
So you didn't even know that he was from BTS. You just thought he was a solo artist. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then I saw all 7 of them, and I was like, hold on a second. I think they just have natural chemistry that comes across when they're together that's different than anything I've ever seen. They have really good chemistry and they are very captivating together. So this was probably around the time that was coming up on the year anniversary of my dad passing away. I had spent all that month going down rabbit hole, and when I like something, I can't get enough of it. So it's like I couldn't get enough.
Well, that's how it
So,
is. I think when you first get bit by that BTS bug, it's a
mhm.
blur those initial months for sure.
But what I had realized with discovering BTS is I was excited about seeing things about them, like excited and giddy like a teenager. And here I am, my mid 40s, and I couldn't remember the last time I was excited about something like that, or, happy or looking forward to something. Then I realized through the emotions that they brought up, the positive emotions, I realized that I hadn't really been feeling anything. I kind of had been numb for that whole year.
Yeah.
It was, finding BTS and then that year anniversary of my dad passing away, both of them clicked at the same time. I haven't been feeling anything, so these positive emotions came first, and then because of those positive emotions, I realized I never grieved for my dad because I never allowed myself to be sad about him passing. BTS was a catalyst for me starting to feel again.
So BTS helped you access a part of yourself that you feel like had been kind of dormant for a while, and had you feel that joy again, joy, sadness, whatever it may be, just feel something. BTS was the interruption that caused us to either make a change or just in your case and in my case just kind of like realize that you have not been awake all this time. And now it's like you can't imagine what it was like without them. Like they've just accessed this part where I'm like, what was I doing for 35 years of my life? Like, what was I doing? And they just take over really, really quickly. So you came into the fandom. So that's during JK's golden era. So they are enlisted at this point, not all of them. Okay, I discovered this group and I'm down the rabbit hole and I'm so into it, but they're actually not going to be active. Some of them are here, some are not. And I have this long road. And it's exciting because now you're in that group of armies that as we approach June, you're going to get that first experience of experiencing BTS as a whole. But I want to talk about your bias journey. When I met you, when we first connected, you claimed you did not have a bias. And now you know me well enough now that when someone says that to me, I'm like, yeah, okay. You just don't know yet and you just need to be told. I don't even know how we got to talking about it, but I could just sense it from our first conversation that you were just very RM coded. Like I could just tell you were giving me those RM vibes. And I just told you one day.
I'm not the type of person you can just tell me something. I'm like, okay, I believe you. No, I hear
Mhm.
what you're saying. Let me see for myself if this is true or not.
Yeah.
So I'm like, she don't know what she's talking about. I like all of them. So I don't have one I like more than the other. I like all of them for different reasons. And so when you told me that, I was like, well, Patience, take a step back and think for a minute. And I started thinking, and I said, every time all of them are on the screen, I'm always looking for RM. Always.
Mhm.
Always, always. My eyes would always look for him. I was always searching him out. And I never thought about it until you said that, because
Mhm.
I said, you know, I don't think I do that. And then I got to thinking, I said, yes, I do.
You have a natural pull towards one. It just tends to happen. Now, some people, I guess, could be truly OT7, but if
Right.
you really look within and really have that conversation with yourself, you could usually figure
Hmm.
out that there is one that you are
Right.
partial to. So I
Yeah.
picked up on it, and you have just been like down bad loyal ever since. Like as every RM
Hmm.
stan is, like he is their
Hmm.
man. So what is it about RM that is just the thing that you love about him and that drives you crazy?
You know,
Other than his fine body and yeah.
listen, yeah. That's the surface level thing, the
Yeah.
surface level. But what probably the main thing is his intelligence.
Mhm.
I really am attracted to intelligence. I'm also the type of person I love to learn new stuff and I like reading. And so that's what first was the pull for me, I think, with him is because he's very intelligent. He's a reader. He's a thinker, almost like a debater in a way. I've always felt very protective of him.
I noticed that protective energy right away that you had for him. And it's hard now because you can tell he's miserable right now in the military.
My gosh, he's like, can this be over with? Am I done yet?
Yeah. And I just imagine he's got a notebook full of lyrics and stuff he's writing down about what he's going through. I can't wait to hear him tell that story.
Absolutely.
Because he started to do that with Right Place, Wrong Person. So I have to ask, getting into that, do you have a preference between Indigo or Right Place, Wrong Person?
I've liked all of his, everything that I've heard of his solo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see now after him putting out Right Person, Wrong Place, that he was not being himself until that album.
Mm-hmm.
That it feels like he was basically trying to just meet whatever contract or quota that he had to, or to maybe please everyone else. This is what I think I should be doing, or the type of music I should be doing,
Mm-hmm.
and mainstream stuff that is digestible to most people. With Right Person, Wrong Place, to me, it seems like he did what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
How he expressed himself fully about where he was and what he was going through, and he did not. It's not that he doesn't care, but I think it was more important for him to be completely honest about where he was at that time in his life versus trying to please the public. And if you like it, then you like it, and if you don't, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that album and after seeing the documentary and the making of it was like a big therapy session for him.
Yes.
And I think it's beautiful that he found a group of people that allowed him to do that.
That encouraged him to do it and said, you got to make an album. And you can tell in the way he promoted it too, because Indigo, the promotions were not over the top. It was very little. He did music videos.
Mm-hmm.
He did that little concert. But when Right Place, Right Person came out, he did a documentary. He wanted to share that. You can tell that this meant a lot to him, this album.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right.
Yeah.
It's not easily digestible from listen one for the average BTS fan. I think the general consensus when in my circle of people was that it was a tough listen at first. It was like, oh, I don't know, but we have all absolutely love it now. Once you listen to the words he's saying and then you understand the artistry, it's just so different from Indigo that it was like a shock. It was like a shell shock. It was such a necessary album. Now, I have the idea of a music bias. Out of all the solo adventures, is Namjoon's work your favorite, or is there another one that you tend to gravitate more towards?
I will say Rap Line, because J-Hope and Yuki are my bias records, because it's something about what happens when RM and Yuki and J-Hope are on a stage together. It's just, it's something different. And so I think they are like my music bias.
Yeah.
The three of them.
The rap line is what makes them different from other K-pop groups. The rap line is their foundation.
Right.
The songwriting of the rap line and the chemistry and the things they do is the foundation.
And I think they are what keeps the entire group honest.
Yeah.
Like, I think they absolutely keep the entire group honest and make sure that there's some substance to their music, and not just I want to have fun and dance, but I have something I want to say. And I think they allow the other members to do that also, and let them know that it's safe for them not just to want to dance and but to have a message behind what they're saying.
Yeah, JK and Tay especially have such a strong appreciation for music. They are music lovers completely, and I think that the rap line kind of fostered that in them and brought them up that way. Like, you're going to get this well-rounded knowledge of music, and it's going to make you a better artist for it. Yeah, absolutely. And your song choice of the episode is Seven from Right Place, Wrong Person, which is a newer track. That was the first song that I really loved from the album. Now I love them all, but that one was, it made me stop. I almost think it probably could fit on Indigo if it wanted to, because it has that like tempo.
I agree.
And maybe it was a leftover from Indigo. I don't know. But what do you love about that song?
My first thought was, he's being so honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I love honest people. I love blunt people. I love people that are just, tell it like it is, take it or leave it, but I'm going to tell you how it is. And so That's the feeling that I got from him, and it wasn't in a harsh way
Right.
where it was just I'm telling my truth. Since I went to see J Hope, I have been in a bubble since I went to see him,
Mhm.
and it's a bubble where it's like I'm in this state of bliss since I've seen him. And I said, and I'm going to stay in my bubble for as long as I can, and nobody's going to burst my bubble. And that's what heaven means. That's what I got from heaven, is that he found what's heaven to him, and that there wasn't going to be anyone that was going to, taint that
Take it.
or ruin that for him. No matter what they did, it was still going to be, his safe place, is what I got out of that.
Yeah. And I think that that's true for all armies with BTS. This is our heaven. This is our safe place. This is
Right.
our escape from everything.
Mhm.
It's our place. And I feel that way too. I feel like nobody can take this from me, and I don't want it to be taken from me. It is the thing that
Right.
has given me a whole
Mhm.
new lease on life. So I love that. Whereas Closer, which was my choice, I love that he was able to take a song and evoke such feelings of like yearning, and you can just feel the
Uh-huh.
longing in that song. It feels very real. We know he's been through something. He's been through some sort of relationship roller coaster. I mean, this is just me speculating, but I think he fell in love and it didn't work out, and he's going through all that emotion now.
Yeah, I feel like it may have been a toxic relationship also.
My impression was like he fell hard, and it was this thrill. This person was a thrill to him, and he fell a little too hard.
Mhm.
But sometimes passion and excitement, it makes you think that that's the right person for you, but like really it's not. I hope one day we hear that story. They're going to start being more open with us, and I'm here for that. I am here for them to feel like they can go into this next chapter with us and share their stories with us, because we all have them. Like, we've all been through crappy relationships, and we've all been miserable, and I want to hear it all. I'm so sad for it. I'm ready. I can't wait for you to
Mhm.
see RM Discharge on June 10th. That's going to be
Right. Yeah.
amazing. I'm excited to share this episode with everybody about Namjoon. I hope I do him justice. I really had no plan for it. I just wanted to talk about him uninterrupted and just say
Yeah.
whatever I wanted to say. I'm like, I just want to talk about him. So I appreciate you coming on to kind of close out this episode about him. I loved chatting with you. It's been
Thank you. I
great.
appreciate you inviting me, and I, this has given me an opportunity to step out of my comfort zone. I am not a person that I don't like taking pictures. I don't like attention. So this is fun. I thought I would be nervous, and I didn't feel nervous at all. I think you do a really good job of making people feel comfortable.
Yeah, well, that's my whole vision for it, that it's just a
Yeah.
conversation. And you're such a great conversationalist. You are like RM. We could probably go on for hours, but we both got kids that are like chomping at the bit to get our attention. So we got to cut it off here. But yeah, thanks again for coming. I will tag Patience in the caption of this podcast if you'd like to follow her, because she's always looking to talk about her man. You could also follow Jackie and the Soup or Talk Bangtan to Me podcast. And we will see you all in 2 weeks. And I think I'm talking about J-Hope in 2 weeks. That's what I'm thinking, because
Ooh.
we're coming hot off that tour, and we got a lot to pull apart about him. So thanks again. Say bye to everybody, Patience.
Bye, everyone.
Borhe.